Hello! In this video, I'm going to show you how to code a scissors, paper, stone game. Oh, sounds exciting, right? So now, before we begin, let me show you how the game is supposed to work, right? So here we have, we have the record of the human score, the machine score, and if you as a human being get to choose to play. Do you want to play scissors? Do you want to play paper? Or do you want to play stone? So what happens if I click start game? Okay, so I click the start game button. Who will win? Is it the humans or the machines? Okay. Now notice what just happened. It cleared out this thing over here, right? And now the score has been set to 0 and 0. Then what do we do? Okay, let's say I want to play scissors. Then I click scissors. Notice what happens. Human plays scissors and the machine plays paper. Humans win. Humanity is safe. Okay, yay! And you notice the score has been updated to 1, right? Okay, let's just try again. Scissors. It's a draw. This time I choose scissors, the machine plays scissors. What if I do one more time? Oh, the humans win. Okay, humanity is safe. Very good. Let's try again. It's a draw. Okay. Oh, very good. I'm beating the computer. Yeah, 3-0. Very good, very good. Ta-da! It's a draw. It's a draw. Oh, very good. Well, too bad. I spoke too soon. Machines win. Death to humans. Okay, so this is the game that we're going to create. So if you're going to play paper, then you click this. You're going to play stone, we're going to click this. Okay, so how do we code a game like that? Yeah, so I want you to open the lecture activity spreadsheet. Yeah, and let's begin. Yeah, so you're going to see a template that looks like this. So let's begin coding. Yeah, let's begin by coding the start game button. So right click and then we click assign macro, and then we'll call it start _ click. Okay, new. Alright, so what do we do now? There are 4 things that we need to do, right? We need to reset all these scores back to 0, and then we need to blank this out, correct? So let's do that first. Okay, now the human score is recorded in cell B5, so we can just easily reset it to 0 by typing range B5 dot value equals to 0. Yeah. Now again, like I say, write a bit, test a bit. So let's test a bit. Okay, as you can see, human score has now turned to 0, right? Now, let's do the next one, machine score. So range, and this is in B7. So range B7 dot value equals to 0. Now, write a bit, test a bit. Okay, very good, it's working, 0, 0. Now we need to clear this. As we can see, this is cell E19, and this is on cell J19, yeah? So, all I have to do is just range E19 dot value equals to quotation marks without the space, because why? We just want to make it empty. And then the next one is J19. So range J19 dot value equals to like that. Okay, so let's test again. Ta-da! Okay, very good. Now it's all clear, correct? So let's do the scissors button. Okay, so how do we do it? So right click the button, then we click assign macro, and then we just give it a name like play scissors _ click. Okay, then you click new. So how would we do this? Okay, you see when playing the scissors paper stone game, what goes on, right? Let's say I play scissors paper stone, right? Let's say this is the human, right? Human plays scissors. We need to register what the human plays. We also need to register what the computer plays, correct? So scissors, paper, stone. Okay, right? Then what do we do? Now that we have registered what the human and the computer plays, then we need to evaluate who won the game. Scissors beats paper, right? So we need to write the rules on who wins the game. And then, because if in this case scissors beats paper, so human gets 1 point, correct? Oh, so notice what we needed to do. Number 1, register what the human does. Number 2, register what the computer does. Number 3, evaluate who won. And number 4, update the score. How do we do this? First of all, we need to register that the human played scissors, correct? So where do we register? We can register in E19, right? So all we have to do is just range E19 dot value equals to scissors. Okay. Again, if you're not sure, okay, then you click, ta-da, now the word scissors comes up, right? Okay, so how do we decide what the machine will play? You know when you play board games, you need to roll a dice. Actually, properly speaking, it's roll a die. How do we get the computer to roll a die? Yeah, so we can say like if you roll a die, the number 1 will be scissors. You roll a die, number 2 is paper, and number 3 will be stone. Something like that. Yeah? How do we do this? Okay, so the first command that we need to type is randomize. It sounds a bit strange, but basically this is the command that we need to invoke to, in a certain sense, start the random machine. Start like rolling the dice, roll in your hand, correct? So, you can think of it like this. You know how in Chinese kung fu shows or Japanese anime, before they do any big move, they need to shout the thing that they're doing, like Hua, crouching tiger, hidden dragon, or Hua, constipated chicken, diarrhea dragon, something like that, right? So you do. So in this case, I want to roll a dice. I need to call randomize. Okay, very good. Now notice it's American spelling with a Z, right? What do we do next? We need to generate a random number. This is where things get a little bit complicated. So let me type a bit of code to explain to you. So let's do a message box first, okay? Message box RND. Now RND is this random number that the computer will generate. But if I do a message box IND, notice the number that gets produced. 0.725, blah, 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 right? It's not the 1, 2, 3 that we wanted, right? For scissors, paper, and stone. Oh, right. Oh, so what can we do? So the first thing that we can do is, so you notice that the numbers generated are basically from 0 to 0.99999, okay? So if we want to get 1, 2, 3, we need to first multiply this by 3, okay? So RND times 3. So basically the number generated will be from 0 all the way to 2.99999, okay? So as you can see, tada, 1.9, tada, 1. Okay, so still not anywhere close, correct? Now we still get all these numbers at the end, right? 1.2 something something something. So we can do this int, okay, and then we put the RND times 3 in brackets. Now what happens? Now we get a number 1, or we get number 0, or we can get a 2. So right now, all it does is generate a number 0, 1, 2. Now, just so you know, this int, what it does is that it will just chop off everything after the dot. So 1.222, whatever, then you just chop everything after the dot, so you just get the number 1. Now, but if you notice, it's just giving me a number 0, 1, or 2, right? I want the numbers 1, 2, or 3. So what do I need to do? Then I just plus 1 now, right? So if it's 0, it becomes 1. If it's 1, it becomes 2. If it's 2, it becomes 3. So again, not sure, then you press, tada, 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah? So now I get the numbers 1, 2, and 3, yeah? So where do I go from here? So I can just, instead of outputting it as a message box, I can just call it random number, okay? Equals to this. So basically, I roll a die, and I will generate a number 1, 2, or 3, and I will store it in this variable called random number, alright? Then what's next? Well, after this, I need to translate the number 1, 2, or 3 into scissors, paper, or stone. So if random number equals to 1, then I want to save it in this cell over here, J19. Yeah. So if random number equals to 1, then range J19 dot value equals to scissors. And if it's the number 2, then we'll just say range J19 dot value equals to paper. And then I can just write else, because if it's not 1, if it's not 2, then it's going to be 3. Okay, else range J19 dot value equals to stone. Then and if. Okay, so again, write a bit, test a bit. So let's click. You see? Scissors, paper, scissors, 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 paper. Okay. So we are rolling the dice now, and the machine is able now to choose scissors, paper, or stone. Okay? But what is lacking? We need that condition that will allow us to compare, right? Okay, so now we need to write the rules to decide who wins, who loses, or whether it's a draw, right? So, well, you know the game, right? If the human plays scissors, then computer plays scissors, it's a draw, correct? If it's paper, then the human wins, right? If it's stone, then the computer wins, correct? So, we can write this in our code, right? If range J19 dot value equals to scissors. Now, you might be thinking, shouldn't we be saying if the human plays scissors and the computer plays scissors? Yes, you're not wrong. But if you notice, this is the button where we say that the human plays scissors already. So we don't. So there's no need to say if the human plays scissors, because that button just indicates that, right? So all we need to do is check whether the computer played scissors, paper, or stone. Now, in the case of scissors, what will it be? It's a draw, correct? So we just message box, it's a draw. Okay. Else if range J19 dot value equals to paper, then the message box, humans win. We are the superior race. Then else, because there's only 3 possibilities, right? Scissors, paper, or stone. So if it's not scissors, it's not paper, then it's else lah, which is stone, right? So we can just use else. Message box, machines win, death to humans. And if. And then we can click the button and say, oh yeah, machines win, it's a draw. Yeah. Now, notice one thing that hasn't been happening. Yeah, the score hasn't been updated. Okay. So how do we update the score? We can do this. Well, if it's a draw, we don't need to update anything, right? But if it's paper, then humans win, correct? So how do we update the score? Well, remember counter equals to counter plus 1. Well, we don't write counter equals to counter plus 1. Instead, we're going to say the value of cell B5 equals to the value of cell B5 plus 1. So how do we write that? Range B5 dot value equals to range B5 dot value plus 1. Then how about for machine? It will be range B7 dot value equals to range B7 dot value plus 1. Yeah. So once again, write a bit, test a bit, and click. It's a draw, so nothing to add, right? Then machines win, death to humans, and then plus 1. Okay. Then next one, humans win. Okay. Then plus 1. So as you can see, it's working. Now, if you had a sharp eye, you will notice something. Let's take a closer look at the code. If random number equals to 1, then we output scissors. Then you notice this one is just scissors, then message box is a draw. Why do we need to write separate code? You are correct. So actually, all we have to do is we don't actually even need to put it in a separate if. We can just move it, okay, like this. Okay. In fact, we can transfer this code over here and this code over here as well. Yeah, there was actually no need for the 2 ifs. I only needed to demonstrate to you how the code works. So basically, the computer will roll the dice, right? And then if it generates the number 1, then it's going to play scissors, and then, well, it's a draw, right? And then you roll the dice again, and then what happens? Oh, it's going to play paper, and then what happens? Paper means the humans win, right? And then if it's going to be number 3, then it's a stone, correct? And then the machines win. So I can actually condense my code into this if condition. So you're not wrong with that. And if we click and test, it still works, right? Okay, and then see the score gets updated. Okay, now I just demonstrated this the code for the scissors button. Do you think you can complete the other 2 codes? What needs to be changed? Well, I'll leave you to think about it. This is a good practice for you also. And yeah, have fun with the scissors paper stone game. Bye!